Listen, I'm going to say something that's going to upset a lot of people in this room, and frankly, I don't care. Are you ready? Here it is. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody. Not your parents, not your friends, not the government, not some mysterious universe, and certainly not me. The sooner you accept this truth, the sooner you can actually build something real. I know that sounds harsh. I know it's not what Instagram influencers tell you. I know it contradicts the narrative you've been fed your entire life about collaboration and teamwork and community. But let me ask you something. Where are all these people who are supposed to be helping you when you're sitting in your apartment at 11 p.m., broke, tired, and wondering why your life isn't changing? They're not there. They're dealing with their own lives. The world doesn't owe you anything. Your past doesn't matter. Your circumstances don't matter. Your excuses don't matter. What matters is what you do when nobody's watching. What matters is the work you put in when there's no applause, no validation, no external reward coming your way. I built everything I have by understanding one fundamental principle. You are completely, totally, utterly responsible for your own success or failure. There's no middle ground. There's no kind of responsible. You either own it or you don't. And if you don't own it, you're a victim, and victims don't win. Today, I'm going to break down 3 core principles that will transform how you approach your life. These aren't theories. These aren't motivational fluff. These are principles I've seen work in the real world, tested by thousands of people who decided to take their lives seriously. If you implement what I'm about to tell you, your life will change, but only if you actually do the work. Reading this isn't doing the work. Listening to me isn't doing the work. Only you can do it. Here's what most people do wrong. They sit around waiting for someone to give them permission. They wait for the right moment. They wait for someone to tell them they're good enough. They wait for their parents to approve. They wait for society to validate their choices. And while they're waiting, life is passing them by. This is the biggest trap. This is the prison you've built for yourself. I'm going to tell you something that will set you free, but it might hurt first. And nobody gives a shit about your dreams. Not really. Your best friend has their own dreams. Your family has their own problems. Your mentor is busy. That successful person you admire doesn't know you exist. And that's not cruel. That's freedom. Because if they don't care about your dreams, that means you don't need their permission to pursue them. Let me tell you about the nature of permission. Permission is a scam. It's what weak people use to avoid responsibility. They say, I would do it, but I need permission first. What they're really saying is, I'm scared, and I want someone else to approve of my choices so that if I fail, it's their fault, not mine. Do you see how genius that is? It's genius cowardice. The most successful people in the world, the ones building billion-dollar companies, the ones achieving physical transformation, the ones creating art that moves people, none of them waited for permission. They didn't go to the permission committee and ask for approval. They saw an opportunity or a problem they wanted to solve, and they started doing the work. That was it. Steve Jobs didn't wait for permission. He started in a garage. He wasn't given a board of directors vote before he began. He just started. Same with countless entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, and innovators. They understood something crucial. The universe doesn't care about your permission. The market doesn't care. Success doesn't care. Only you care. Now, let's talk about validation. This is where most people get stuck, and it's ruining an entire generation. People are so addicted to external validation that they've become completely dependent on it. They post something online and they're checking every 5 minutes to see how many likes it got. They make a business decision and they poll everyone on social media to see what strangers think. They accomplish something real and they can't enjoy it because they're too busy checking if other people are impressed. This is pathetic. And I say that with no malice. I say it as a wake-up call. The validation trap works like this. You do something, you get some external approval, and it feels good for 20 minutes. Then it wears off, and you need more. So you do something else, you perform for the audience again, and you get another hit of approval. You're basically a drug addict. Except the drug is other people's opinions. And like all drug addicts, you're slowly losing yourself. You stop doing things because they matter to you. You do them because you think other people want to see them. Here's the truth about validation. The only validation that matters is the validation of progress. Did you do the work today? Did you make progress toward your goal? Did you move the needle forward? If the answer is yes, then you've been validated. Not by anyone else, by reality. Reality is the only judge that matters. I met a guy once who was training every single day, eating perfectly, sleeping well, completely transforming his body. but he was miserable because his Instagram wasn't blowing up like he thought it would. He had six-pack abs. He was stronger than he'd ever been. He had more energy. He was living a completely different life. And he was depressed because he didn't have 100,000 followers. Do you see how insane that is? He had everything and felt like he had nothing because he was waiting for external validation. I told him something that changed his perspective. Your body doesn't care how many people follow you. Your health doesn't care about your follower count. Reality doesn't care. You're validated by what you've actually accomplished, not by how many people saw you accomplish it. The moment he let go of that need for validation, he became free. And paradoxically, once he stopped trying to impress people and just focused on the work, he actually started gaining attention naturally because his energy was different. He wasn't performing anymore. Stop waiting for permission. Stop seeking validation. Do the work because the work itself is the point. Do it because you said you would. Do it because it matters to you. Do it because ignoring a problem or a dream inside you will slowly kill your soul, and you know it. Real validation comes from internal standards. It comes from knowing you did your best. It comes from progress. It comes from integrity, doing what you said you'd do when nobody's watching. Once you understand this, once you really get it in your bones, you become unstoppable because you're no longer playing the external game. You're playing the game that actually matters. Motivation is a liar. It feels amazing, but it's the most unreliable thing in your arsenal. Motivation shows up when conditions are perfect, when you're feeling good, when the stars align. But life doesn't work that way. Life is 80% boring, repetitive, unglamorous work that you won't feel motivated to do. Think about the most successful people you know. Do you think they feel motivated every single day to do what they do? Of course not. But they do it anyway. They've built their lives on discipline, not on the fragile, temporary emotion of motivation. Here's the difference, and it's critical. Motivation is something that happens to you. Discipline is something you choose. Motivation is passive. Discipline is active. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a decision. You can't rely on feelings because feelings change. But discipline you can control. Let me give you a practical example. A guy shows up to the gym on January 1st because he's motivated. He had a great holiday season. He's feeling inspired. He's got new goals. He crushes his first week. He's on fire. Then the second week, it's cold outside. He didn't sleep well. He's not feeling it. And because he was relying on motivation, he doesn't go. Then he misses a few more days and eventually he quits completely. Compare that to someone with discipline. This person wakes up, doesn't feel like going to the gym, and goes anyway. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous. It's not something he's posting about on social media. He just goes because that's what he decided to do. He said he'd work out every morning and he keeps his word to himself. A month passes, 3 months pass, 6 months pass, and suddenly he's not the same person anymore. He's stronger. His confidence is different. His entire life has shifted, not because he felt motivated, but because he showed up and did the work even when he didn't feel like it. This is how everything real in life works. Every book that's ever been written, every business that's ever been built, everybody that's ever been transformed, it all came from discipline, not motivation. The author didn't feel inspired for every page. The entrepreneur didn't feel motivated every day. The athlete didn't want to train when it was raining. They did it anyway. The secret that separates people who achieve their goals from people who don't is this: they do the work on the days they don't feel like doing the work. That's it. That's the whole game. Think about discipline like a muscle. When you first start working out, lifting weights feels hard. It feels impossible. Your muscles burn. You wonder why you're doing this to yourself, but you keep going. And after a few weeks, your body adapts. The work that felt impossible becomes difficult. The work that felt difficult becomes manageable. The work that felt manageable becomes easy. You're not stronger because you felt more motivated over time. You're stronger because you kept showing up, even when it was hard. The same principle applies to everything. If you want to be a writer, you don't wait to feel inspired. You write every single day, whether you feel like it or not. After 6 months, the writing gets better. After a year, it's good. After 2 years, it's great. Not because the universe granted you talent, but because you showed up and did the work when the real work needed to be done, which is when you didn't feel like it. Here's another critical element of discipline. It requires a system. You can't rely on willpower alone because willpower is like motivation. It fluctuates, but you can create systems that make the disciplined choice the easy choice. For example, if your goal is to read more, don't rely on motivation to pick up a book. Create a system every morning with your coffee. You read for 30 minutes. That's it. You're not deciding whether to read, The decision has already been made. It's automatic. You're not relying on willpower. You're relying on structure. This is why so many people fail at their goals. They keep trying to make the right choice every single time through sheer willpower. It's exhausting. Eventually, willpower runs out. But if you build a system where the right choice is the default, you don't need willpower anymore. You need discipline to set up the system initially, but then the system runs itself. I know a guy who wanted to get in shape but kept failing. Why? Because every day he'd wake up and have to decide, should I go to the gym? And some days he'd decide not to. So I told him to change his entire morning routine. He laid out his gym clothes the night before. He prepared his breakfast before bed. He set his alarm 30 minutes earlier. He created a pre-workout ritual that got him psychologically ready. Now his morning was structured so that going to the gym wasn't a decision. It was just what he did. And guess what? He's transformed. Not because he suddenly became more motivated, but because he used discipline to build a system that took motivation out of the equation. Discipline isn't about being hard on yourself or suffering. It's about respecting yourself enough to follow through on what you've committed to. It's about integrity. When you say you're going to do something and you do it, even when it's hard, you build trust with yourself. And that self-trust becomes the foundation for everything else you build. The irony is this: once you commit to discipline and stop waiting for motivation, motivation starts showing up anyway. But now it's a bonus, not a requirement. You've already won because you've shown up regardless. And that's the actual secret to building a life that works. Most people see adversity as something that happens to them, something unfair, something that proves the world is against them. They look at someone successful and think, oh, they must have had it easy. They must have had connections. They must have gotten lucky. And maybe, just maybe, they failed to see all the things that person went through to get there. This is one of the most damaging lies people tell themselves. Adversity isn't a penalty, it's a gift, it's an advantage. And the sooner you understand this, the sooner you become dangerous. Think about it logically. If you want to build a strong physique, what do you need? You need resistance. You need to lift heavy things that challenge your muscles beyond their current capacity. Without that adversity, without that stress on your muscles, they never grow. They stay weak. The adversity is literally required for growth. The same is true for every single area of your life. Mental strength isn't built in comfort. It's built in discomfort. Courage isn't built when everything is easy. It's built when you face fear and move forward anyway. Resilience isn't built when life is going smoothly. It's built when you face setbacks and keep going. Problem-solving skills aren't developed when everything works perfectly. They're developed when you encounter obstacles and figure out creative solutions. Here's the truth: every single person who has built anything of value has faced immense adversity. Every single one. And the ones who made it through didn't do it because they had some special advantage. They did it because they understood something fundamental that most people don't. Adversity is training. It's teaching you the skills you need to succeed. I knew a guy who lost everything. And I mean everything. His business failed. He lost his savings. He lost his home. Most people would have stayed there, feeling sorry for themselves. But this guy looked at his situation differently. He thought, now I know what bankruptcy feels like. Now I know what it's like to hit rock bottom. Now I know I can survive that. He got back up. He built something new. And you know what? The second time was easier because he wasn't afraid of failure anymore. The worst thing had already happened and he was still alive. That's what adversity does. It removes your fear. It teaches you that you're more capable than you thought. It shows you that you can handle more than you ever imagined. But most people do the opposite. They avoid adversity. They want comfort. They want everything to be easy. They want to build a successful business without dealing with the stress of entrepreneurship. They want to have a great body without dealing with the discomfort of training. They want respect without doing the difficult work that earns respect. And so they stay stuck, getting weaker and more fragile with every year that passes. Let me tell you what I've observed. The people who have easy lives early on are often the people who struggle the most later. Why? Because they never developed resilience. They never built the mental strength that comes from overcoming challenges. They never learned how to problem solve in the real world. Then when actual adversity hits, and it always does, they crumble because they don't have the infrastructure built inside them to handle it. Compare that to someone who grew up with challenges, someone who had to work for everything they have, someone who faced obstacles and learned to overcome them. When life gets hard for that person, they don't panic because they've already been through hard things. They know they can handle it. They have a proven track record of overcoming adversity. They're mentally equipped. So here's what you need to do. Start reframing your relationship with adversity. Stop seeing it as punishment. Start seeing it as investment. When you face a difficult situation, instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? Think, what is this teaching me? What strength is this building in me? How is this preparing me for something greater? This doesn't mean you should go looking for unnecessary suffering. That's stupid. But when adversity comes, and it will, stop resisting it, stop complaining about it, move through it with purpose, learn everything you can, extract every lesson, come out the other side stronger and wiser. I met this entrepreneur who faced massive competition. His initial instinct was to see it as a threat, but then he reframed it. He thought, okay, if all these people are competing in this space, it means the market is real. It means there's demand. These competitors are going to teach me what works and what doesn't. They're going to push me to innovate. By the time I make it, I'm going to be so battle-tested that I'm going to dominate. And he did exactly that. He used the competition as an advantage instead of a disadvantage. This is the mindset shift that changes everything. Your obstacles aren't stopping you. They're shaping you. Your failures aren't defeating you. They're teaching you. Your challenges aren't punishing you. They're preparing you. There's a concept called anti-fragility. Fragile things break under stress. Resilient things stay the same under stress. But anti-fragile things actually get stronger under stress. That's what you want to become. You want to be the kind of person who, when life puts pressure on them, they come out stronger, not weaker. How do you build anti-fragility? By consistently choosing the harder path, by taking on challenges, by pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, by facing your fears, by failing, learning, and trying again. This is how you build a body that doesn't break under physical stress. This is how you build a mind that doesn't break under mental stress. This is how you build a life that works. And here's something that most people miss. Other people can see when you've been through adversity and come out stronger. They can feel it. There's a difference in your energy. There's a difference in your confidence. There's a difference in how you move through the world. That's attractive. That's magnetic. That's the kind of person people want to follow, want to work with, want to learn from. So embrace it. Seek challenges. Push yourself. Do things that scare you. Face obstacles head on. Every time you do, you're not just accomplishing that one task. You're building the internal infrastructure that will support a great life. You're becoming the kind of person who can handle success when it comes. You're becoming anti-fragile. You came here today probably looking for some magic answer, some secret, some shortcut. I'm going to disappoint you because there isn't one. There's no hack. There's no way around the work. There's no substitute for discipline. There's no escape from adversity. But here's what I want you to understand. That's actually good news. Why? Because if there were a shortcut, someone else would have already figured it out and sold it to you. There is no secret society of successful people who know something you don't. The only thing they know is that success requires consistent work over a long period of time, and most people won't do it. That's your competitive advantage right there. Most people won't do the work. Most people will wait for permission. Most people will quit when it gets hard. Most people will make excuses. If you decide to be different, if you decide to do the work anyway, you automatically separate yourself from 99% of the people out there. So here's my challenge to you. Go back to your life and pick one thing. Just one. Pick something you've been saying you want to do but haven't started. And tomorrow morning, start. Not next week, not when the time is right. Tomorrow. And then the day after tomorrow, do again. And the day after that, and the day after that. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need motivation. You need discipline. You need to do the work. And you need to embrace the adversity that comes along with it, because that adversity is going to make you great. Nobody is coming to save you. And that's the best news you've heard all year. Now go do the work.